we've been through the styles of the 80s, 90s, and 2000s and so on. Where do you see wrestling going? Do you believe that WWE will always be the top dog in wrestling?
Hmm. Um, it's kind of like, in terms of uh, wrestling, and coming from the era that I came from, which many fans have said was, and again, this is not me talking, this is the things I hear from the fans. He said, you guys who wrestled from the mid 80s to the mid 90s were the last great era of wrestling. And I have to somewhat agree, because, it's kind of like wrestling has always been, when you walk into a movie, it's a movie. When you walk into a wrestling match, it's a show you're seeing. But if the people in that ring are really good at what they're doing, they can draw you into their story. Okay. And for example, I mean, I've been smart to the wrestling business since I was in the 6th grade. And I used to watch, like, when I graduated from high school and went back, and I was playing football at West Texas State, but I would always go to the wrestling matches on Thursday night when I could, and watch Terry Funk, Dory Funk Jr., and others that were really good at what they did. And I would get drawn into the story. I'm watching this, and I know it's a show. And I guess it's the same thing when you watch a movie. It's a movie, but if the actors are really good, you get drawn into the story they're telling. Well, what's missing, in my opinion, in wrestling today is the story. Mm-hmm. I see guys get in the ring and they take all these bumps and flip flop and fly. And it's, it's, the match is over in like 5 minutes, 7 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. And it's just two guys out there beating each other up. Instead, get out there and grab a headlock. If you ever watched real wrestling, it's like, it's all on the mat and there's no ropes. And anyway, like I used to, like the old school, man, I'd grab an arm and I'd work that arm, and we might do something in a spot or something, and I'd get back on that arm, and then maybe the tide would turn, and I would start getting beat on, and but then every chance I got, I'd go back to that arm. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
Because the people remember that I had weakened that guy's arm. So instead of going back and hitting him in the head, I went back and I'd worked the arm. I guess that's the best explanation I think I can give. But
well, it makes sense. If you were in a fight and you thought that somebody had a handicap, if you were in an actual fist fight and somebody was favoring their arm, you'd say to yourself, well, if I want to win this fight, I should probably target that arm. And it's an underhanded thing to do, and it's maybe not, the right way to approach a fist fight.
Well, and again, things like, and I've seen guys do this. I've seen somebody, have a guy in the corner and grab him by the hair of his head and run him all the way across the ring into the turnbuckle on the opposite side. Mm-hmm. Now, do you think for a minute, if you were in a real fight on the street and you grabbed a guy by the hair, that you could run him across the street by his hair into a light post?
No.
Hell no. You might pull his hair out, but he ain't going. I mean, but now, okay, now same thing. You're in the corner, and maybe a guy, because I'd stag over to the corner and I'm right there, and you grab him by the hair, but the turnbuckle's right there, and you go bam. That's believable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to say, is that the believability factor in wrestling, in my opinion, for the most part, I mean, there's a few exceptions, but I just, that's my beef with wrestling today. It just, and I hear it from the fans too. So, and hey, guess what? You got a bunch of fans watching. I'd like for you fans who are watching this to write in and tell me or Marcus what you think.
You know, Ted, this conversation has given me a fun idea, and it's something I don't know if you're going to be game for it or not. So we'll find out right here on the show. How would you feel about one of these nights watching AEW whenever it comes on? It comes on Wednesday nights. How would you feel about watching AEW, even like the first hour of the show, whatever, and then you and I discuss it, and you can tell me what stuck out to you, what people are doing wrong or right. I don't know. How would you feel about doing something like that?
Yeah, we could probably do something like that.
Yeah, I would love to hear your perspective because it's a weird time in wrestling. If folks nowadays the athleticism is unparalleled. You've never seen anything like it. There's this guy right now. You and I have talked about him before. His name is Will Ospreay, and he's largely considered the best wrestler on the face of the planet right now. And brother, he does stuff that it doesn't look like it's possible for a human to do out there. But does he sell enough? I don't think so. And so
Well,
it's
see,
a
that's
weird line.
okay, and that's my point. You see these guys go out there and do all of these spectacular moves, and then it's kind of like I think I saw somebody do was it almost like a 1.5 off the top rope and land on a guy, like, and I don't think I would ever lay on the mat and let a guy do a flip and a half off the top rope and land on me, because his momentum is going, and that could hurt you. But anyway, things like that, it's, make it believable. That's the whole thing, is make it believable. So,
Maybe we'll narrow down this tape study because 35 years ago, 1989, according to the Observer and according to me, a guy who was watching it at the time, you were the best wrestler on the face of the planet. Dave Meltzer views it that way. I certainly viewed it that way. Your technical in-ring ability was unparalleled. Right now, 35 years later, Will Ospreay has that distinction. So maybe we'll focus in and watch Will Ospreay. We'll maybe watch a match or two of his. I'll send them to you, and then you and I can do kind of a Will Ospreay tape study sometime here on the show this year. I think that would be fun.
cool.
Cool. All right. I love this idea. We're going to do
All
it,
right.
folks.